Guys, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Dr. McGuire, I want to say thank you to you and the Iowa Democratic Party, and let me say what a great honor it is to come before you on this stage and to do so along with Secretary Clinton and Senator Sanders, two people for whom I have a tremendous amount of respect. My name is Martin O'Malley, former mayor of Baltimore, former governor of Maryland. I am a lifelong Democrat. I'm running for president of the United States. I intend to win, and I need your help. You know, as I was driving down here from Osage to Des Moines today, I couldn't help but to think about the first time I came to Iowa, and it was I was 20 years old, and there was a presidential campaign coming. And me and my buddies, about 5 of us, piled into a Subaru from Maryland, and we wanted to come out here to work for our underdog upstart candidate because we knew that this is where it starts, here in Iowa, and we wanted to change the world. And they dropped me off at 6 a.m., true story, at the Greyhound bus terminal in Davenport, Iowa. And I had nothing but my parka, my guitar, and a duffel bag full of winter clothes. But it was over those next several months that I fell in love with Iowa and the people of Iowa. And I thank you all for what you do for our country every presidential election. What I have found to be the most enjoyable part about running for president is this, that I get to meet young people who also want to change this world of ours with the same idealism and the same belief that all things are possible. And I know it's easy, especially in these times, to become discouraged by our gridlocked Congress and by division and polarization in our national politics. So I want to urge you to do as I do. And if you want to know where our country is headed, talk to her young people under 30, because you will rarely find among them anyone who denies that climate change is real or thinks their government shouldn't do something about it. You will rarely find young people under 30 who want to bash new American immigrants or who want to deny rights to gay couples or to their children. And all of this tells me that we are moving to a much more connected, generous, and compassionate place. On Thursday, Vice President Joe Biden spoke so powerfully about the values that we share, didn't he? The belief we share in the dignity of every individual, respect for one another, truth about ourselves, our commitment to advance the common good that we share. He also spoke about something else. He spoke about the growing income inequality in our country, a growing injustice that threatens to tear our country apart. And he called on us, not just as Democrats, but as Americans, not to run away from the Obama-Biden record of progress, but to build upon what we have achieved together. And to be fearless about our progressive values, our ability to solve this problem, and our ability to make our economy work again for all of us. You know, all of us here tonight agree that we cannot allow Donald Trump or any of the Trump wannabes in the Republican Party to take over our White House. Can we agree on that? But as candidates, we do have some differences on issues. And we do differ on who we believe is best prepared to lead America forward, especially in these new times. Who gives our party the best chance to win in November? In 3 months, the people of Iowa will make a critical decision. It's not about yesterday. It's not just about today. It's about our country. It's about our future. And it's about our children and the future they will share. And while all of the candidates here tonight share progressive values, not all of us have a record of actually getting things done. I do. With 15 years of executive experience as mayor and as governor, I have learned how to be a very effective leader. I have learned how to get things done. I am clear about my principles. I know where I stand. We passed the living wage. We raised the minimum wage. We froze college tuition for 4 years in a row. And these were actions, not words. As governor, I made it easier and not harder for workers to bargain collectively for better wages for all Americans. Actions, not words. And instead of cutting public education funding as governor, I actually increased funding for public education by 37% and memo to Governor Branstad, we made our public schools the best public schools in America 5 years in a row. Actions, not words. And along the way, I brought people together to pass the DREAM Act, to pass marriage equality, and to pass the most comprehensive gun safety legislation in the United States, with universal background checks and a ban on combat assault weapon sales. Actions, not words. You know, my wife Katie and I have 4 great kids, Grace and Tara and William and Jack. And like you, there's nothing we wouldn't do to give them a better life with a better future and more opportunity than we've had. True story. My oldest daughter, Grace, is a public school teacher. Any teachers in the audience here tonight? There we go. And Grace O'Malley teaches public school at Walter P. Carter Elementary in the heart of Baltimore City, land of the free, home of the brave. And about a little over 100 days ago, when her dad announced for president, she returned to her first grade class, adorable 100% African-American kids eager to learn. And there was a buzz in the room, and a little girl named Sabina came up to her, tugged her on the sleeve, and she said, Miss O'Malley, I'm not so sure about this idea of your father running for president, because quite frankly, I kind of like Barack Obama. Well, a lot of us like Barack Obama, right? Our country has come a long way since the Wall Street crash of 2008, when millions of American families, with no fault of their own, lost their jobs and lost their homes. And thanks to President Obama's leadership, when we elected new leadership, our country is doing better. We are creating jobs. 67 months in a row of positive job creation. America is doing better. And there is no progress without jobs. But we elected a president. We didn't elect a magician. And there is urgent work that needs to be done. For yes, there is, in fact, in our country today, a growing economic injustice. Our middle class is shrinking. Our poorest families are becoming poorer. And 70% of us today are earning the same or less than we were 12 years ago. And that's the first time that's happened this side of World War II. This is not how our country's supposed to work. This is not how our economy is supposed to work. And injustice does not solve itself. We must solve it, and we must solve it with new leadership and with action. Actions to make wages go up again for all Americans. Actions to invest again in our own country's long-term potential, to make college a gateway to opportunity and not a trapdoor to a lifetime of crushing debt. Actions that actually square our shoulders to the great challenge of climate change and make this challenge our opportunity. We are Americans and we make our own future, and we need to start doing it again today. And this begins anew as we return to our true selves and we remember that our economy is not money. Our economy is people. It is all of our people. A stronger middle class is not the consequence of economic growth. A stronger middle class is the cause of economic growth. And no American family who works hard and plays by the rules should ever have to raise their children in poverty, and therefore we must raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, however we can, wherever we can. We must advance the cause of paid family leave so that all women can participate more fully in the economic life of our country. Because when women succeed, America succeeds. And that is why over the course of this summer, I have laid out my 15 strategic goals to rebuild the American dream that we share, making the option of debt-free college a reality within 5 years. Instead of cutting Social Security like the Republican candidates want to do, I say we need to expand Social Security. And I am the first candidate in this race, and let us hope not the last, to put forward a plan to move America forward to a 100% clean electric grid by 2050 and create 5 million jobs along the way. Here's one for you. Here's one for us. Do we want wages to actually go up and not down? Then how about this? How about this? How about we get 11 million of our neighbors out of the off-the-book shadow economy and onto the full and open books of an American economy by passing comprehensive immigration reform now with a path for citizenship for all. I want to introduce you to somebody who's with us tonight. There is a person with us tonight. Her name is Kenya Alejandra Calderon. And Kenya is a dreamer here with us tonight. She was born in El Salvador and is now a student at Drake. And along the way, she's become a fearless advocate for citizenship rights for herself and millions of Americans like her. And therefore, to that immigrant bashing, carnival barker, Donald Trump, let us stand together and say that the enduring symbol of our nation is not the barbed wire fence, it is the Statue of Liberty. Do you want to make America great? How about starting by passing comprehensive immigration reform, like our parents and grandparents did? They knew what made America great, and so do we. Nothing that we care about can be accomplished by words alone. We must take action. As Democrats, we have to cast aside the worn-out politics of the past, the choices that no longer serve our nation. And we have to find our backbone again to stand up for what's best for our country and what's best for all of America. What does that mean? That means we have to stop giving a free pass to the bullies of Wall Street whenever they try to run roughshod over our national economy. I have never represented Wall Street, and I sure as hell won't be taking economic orders from Wall Street when I am working for you in your White House. And as your president, I will have the independence and I will have the backbone to fight for you. And if a bank is too big to fail, too big to jail, and too big to manage, then it's too damn big and it needs to be broken up before it breaks our national economy again. This is common sense. Tell me how it is. Tell me how it is that not a single Wall Street CEO was ever convicted of a single crime related to the 2008 economic meltdown. Not a single one. What have we come to? What have we come to as a country that you can get pulled over for having a broken taillight, but if you wreck the nation's economy, you're totally untouchable? Presidential leadership is about the good of the many, not the greed of the few. And that is why I also say that we have to stop sending American jobs and American profits overseas with bad trade deals like the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Many of us in this room remember NAFTA. Whatever its intentions, we traded away good manufacturing jobs like Maytags in towns like Newton. And in return, we got back empty promises and empty pockets. I am fundamentally, adamantly opposed as an American to secret trade deals that our Congress is forced to vote on before the rest of us even have a chance to read them. What have we come to as a nation? And it's not what the other countries are doing to us. We can trade and we should trade. It's not what the other countries are doing to us. It's what we are not doing for ourselves. We need to build up our own American economy again, don't we? And finally, we must have the courage to put our children's safety each and every day ahead of the craven and morally bankrupt interests of the National Rifle Association. The NRA. The NRA has one goal, and it is one goal only, and it is selling as many guns as possible, no matter the cost in American lives. Well, that might be their interest, but that is not what is in the best interest of the United States of America, is it? For 40 years, the NRA and its muscle has dictated to our Congress what laws they can write, what laws they can pass, what laws they can reject. And I say it's high time we find our backbone again as Democrats and stand up and say no to the National Rifle Association and start saving lives. I am passionate about this because I have been to a lot of funerals. And as President Obama said, if terrorists had killed 400,000 Americans since 9/11, we would be moving heaven and earth to stop them, wouldn't we? But Americans have killed 400,000 Americans with guns, and we cower from the political lobbying power of the National Rifle Association. Enough is enough. It doesn't have to be this way. There is a couple with us here tonight, Iowa, and they are Sandy and Lonnie Phillips, and they lost their daughter Jessie in the mass murder that occurred in Aurora, Colorado. And they're here with us tonight. And now what they have endured is unfathomable, but so too is their courage and is their resolve, because they set out to transform the grief of their daughter's loss into real action. And they went to court, the true story, to hold accountable those who recklessly armed a mass murderer by selling him 4,000 rounds of ammunition. No questions asked. They sued the man that sold that ammunition in the attack. And what happened when they went to court? Not only did the Phillips case get thrown out of court, but then they were slapped with $200,000 in court costs. Why? Because of a special immunity to lawsuits that the NRA managed to muscle out of our own Congress. It doesn't have to be this way. Congress should work for us, not for the NRA. To save lives, we know what to do. Common sense tells us what to do. To save lives, we must require universal background checks. We must ban the sale of combat assault weapons to save lives. We must use the buying power of our own federal government, the biggest customer gun companies have, to refuse to buy guns from any company that doesn't use the latest and the best safety technology. And to save lives, we have to stop giving immunity to gun manufacturers and gun dealers who sell weapons of mass murder to criminals and psychopaths. It's only common sense. And so, Senator Sanders, join me now. Secretary Clinton, join me now, and together in this campaign we can forge a new consensus for change. We can save lives, because one American life is worth more than all of the gun sales in America. And so it is. And so it is. In 100 days, the people of Iowa will decide: new leadership or the same old battles of our past, actions or words. Do we want to get things done, or do we just want to keep kind of shouting past each other? It's not about polls and pundits. It's about you. You decide whether we move forward or whether we move back. You know, Thomas Jefferson once said, in matters of fashion, swim with the current, but in matters of principle, stand like a rock. In these fast and rapidly changing times, America needs a president who will stand like a rock. A weather vane shifts positions every time the wind changes. Effective leaders do not. I know who I am. I know what I believe, and I am willing to fight for it. Think about it yourselves. Think about it yourselves. We cannot move beyond today's gridlock politics by returning to the divisions of our past. I'm not about that. I believe that we're all in this together. I believe that to solve our problems, we must face tomorrow. We need new leadership, new ideas, someone with the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it's not yet popular. None of us has all the answers to all of the problems we face. None of us can predict the future. But I can promise you this: I can govern, I can lead, and I can do so with heart and with skill. A lot of people tell me in this race, they say, man, you're up against some tough odds. This is a tough fight. And there are also a lot of people who would look you in the eyes and would tell you that you've got a tough fight. You've got a tough fight being able to pass on to your children a better quality of life than what you've enjoyed. Well, you know what? I kind of like the tough fights. I've always been drawn to the tough fights. And perhaps it's the toughness of the fight that's the way the hidden God has of telling us that we are actually fighting for something worth saving. The American dream is worth saving. Our children's future is worth saving. Our country is worth saving. Our planet is worth saving. It is time to stand up. It is time to join the fight. I am in this to win this. I need your help. And together we can, and together we will rebuild the American dream. May God bless Iowa, and may God bless the United States of America on this journey we take forward together. Thank you very much.
You know, I know these candidates. They're firing you up, so make sure you fill out those caucus cards. We need you.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.